You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can a slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like tomorrow never came.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Hailostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. Yes, hypertext, young carp, and the collection of cultural hyperlinks. No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Wow, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve. Or should I say, they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bringing them to the average consumer. Which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet. Indeed, what?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel lighting up the coast.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if...
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on this...
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bom Baiser dans le Lind. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking tone of the...
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Womty Domty Dom Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Yost?
The Womty Domty Dom Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
Actually, I think there is. No, it's too much. He's joking.
In fact, I'm not. The Womty Domty Dom Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then...
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
I certainly haven't. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The failed playback experiment vanished and who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and... But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give...
Of course, Detective, I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper. If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then... No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.
Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass. Not like...
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could...
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena,
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolve, without studying a live specimen.
A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So, typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally...
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Nature does not concern herself with ethical propositions. As a scientist, My interest is strictly dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel, and, having at least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism. They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought. Yes, what? And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here.
And leave the traps? Absolutely.
Come on. She wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry.
Won't let Lena down. Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid summit.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sitting?
He's dead set on this.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Caught the bug, I see. It's easier to get caught up in the search than you'd imagine. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower. After the third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is...
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men...
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's...
If it's more cryptid-related business, but what if the information is vital?
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. It's not child's play. just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed, my methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might... No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying. Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the fares.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and no. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about two are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing states. Yes, the Chateauquin forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. In fact, it is 0.05%. Ever more magnificent, should our search contribute to making that number 0.075%.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Yes? All right. What cryptids precisely?
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
I'm guessing you heard about it from Lena. The kind green ape is one of her favourites.
A warm wave passes him. Of course, the kind green ape is her favorite, he thinks.
We travelled to South Safra to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm though, and had to spend most of our time there in a little village. The search was fabulously unsuccessful, but the people were very nice. I'm glad they didn't understand what Gary was saying about them.
What? South Safra? They're just on a different rung of the ladder, Morel. I had no problem with them. They're a nascent culture. I just didn't feel comfortable. And let's change the topic, okay? Talk about your critters.
By all means.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
You set the apparatus. This is the trap Morel just set. Checking it over, he said. The reeds by the abandoned campsite. This trap is also full of panicked locusts.
Another empty trap. Always up for a good jog. Otherwise...
Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center. You're at home, stupid cop. Not with the art crowd. You hate them. Everyone hates them. Even they hate themselves. It's nauseating. An industry built on sprezzatura and sparkling wine. And, let's be honest, tax evasion schemes. The Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center is the heart of this unholy symbiosis of aesthetics and tax optimization. And now that you've internalized it, you can have a piece too. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual. even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez, meaning this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes 10 meters away. Other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. The sun blazes high up in the sky, baking the planks, the sand, your skin. The order was carried out in the afternoon. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about Veld?
Another likely scenario.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures. This trap's not the reeds sway. This trap's nothing but locusts.
No, I'm...
A banged-up motor carriage lies half submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Insulindian Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and the engine remain visible. It must be cold and lonely down there, in the icy water. Remember the tire tracks in Martinez? This is where they were leading.
It appears to be so. I agree. We should definitely investigate.
You get a sudden, sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. The logo is too deep in murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by.
The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. My guess is it's been here since...
The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred on Sunday evening.
Let's wait for the low tide and see what's inside.
Great idea. Then we can get the things inside. The joyrider must have left something good inside. Guns, papers, maybe...
I don't know. An hour or two, tops?
As you sit down in the old, rusty playground, the world around you becomes... The hinges creak under your weight, dangerously so. Nothing but the sound of seagulls high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks. The tune on your lips forms a strange yet The lieutenant gives you a quick glance. Then, still looking straight ahead, he joins you with a high 2 birds on a wire, whistling by the seaside. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. Third, looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion.
I believe it's following a pattern set millions of years ago by cosmic forces.
Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing set keeps climbing. You hear the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass.
God, I hope so.
Your voice echoes on the water, strange and out of place in the environment. 30 more minutes pass.
Yes, 41. What do you think it stands for?
It's as if he knows what it stands for, but wants you to say it. It's pedagogical. Does he know something about the driver of this vehicle?
I'm sorry, Harry. I'm so sorry.
41. Precinct 41. A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you started in front of the whirling, jumped over the canal, and then drove your vehicle in the sea right here. Of whom? I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk. Detective, we don't. A rescue operation really isn't viable at this point. I'm afraid it will have to be there like that for many years. Look at it. Parts of it might be salvageable, but overall...
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything.
People are more valuable than machines. Training a police officer is even more costly. Yes, let's go take a look.
A police badge on which you see the photo of a man. You. Some seaweed is stuck to the back.
At least something good came out of all this.
Encased between two durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see a photo, a name, a rank, a document number, the date of issue, and, in the lower right corner, your precinct. The man keeps winking at you with his green-grey eyes. The photo is old, no doubt about that, but the badge is new. You used an old photo for a new badge. 8, maybe 10 years. The guy in the picture is rather good-looking. He's got a nice haircut and is distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. What do you think? His face is already contorted by the expression, although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. The badge in your hand
Harrier, that's long for Harry. So you are Harry. Evrard was half right. Probably not a lot of people know your full name. Whoever told him you're Harry Dubois didn't. It's a wartime name, revolutionary. The kind mothers give their sons during troubled times.
a name like armor.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Harrier Dubois.
He's not going to call you Harrier. He'll keep calling you officer when the badge in your hands shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information.
Lieutenant W. Freighter. The lieutenant is a rank above sergeant and below captain. It's the highest rank in the RCM that still does field work. I am a lieutenant. The title of Freighter is added to your rank when you decline a promotion to a higher rank. In your case, captain. You have declined twice, thus you're W. Freighter. There are many reasons one would do this. The rank above you in your precinct's décomptage might be taken, or sometimes promoted officers do not want to replace their superiors out of respect. And sometimes they just prefer the type of police work available to their current rank, in your case, lieutenant.
Heavy-duty case-solving machine.
Décomptage is the hierarchical system employed by the Revachol citizens' militia. It means counting down to twos.
The countdown is modeled after the dual leadership system employed by the left during the revolution, which in turn was developed by last-century experimental psychologists in the University of Königstein.
The lowest rank is junior officer, usually teenagers. Then there are the patrol officers, then sergeants, lieutenants, then a captain. That's basically it, except for a few kings. Kings like satellite officers and the additionally freighter rank I already explained.
The long and short of it is, you're his superior.
You are given the title of satellite officer if your partner is quickly promoted through the ranks and you rise with him. You don't seem to be a satellite. My pleasure.
Such a small yet precious thing.
That's just the serial number. Revachol, Jamrock, Precinct 4.
The numbers are not there for good measure. They have an administrative purpose. One that's
4 months ago. I'm guessing that's when you were promoted. A new badge usually comes with a new rank. You seem to...
You're pretty sure you weren't doing well, but better? Probably.
Yes, it's the designation of your precinct. 41, like mine says 57. The 57th is mostly industrial. It's a tough station to work in. You have all of Jamrock to cover. That district should have 3 precincts, but money is what it is.
It's no wonder you are like you are, he thinks.
But then again, it's a legendary district, and a hell of a station too. It must be an honor and a curse to work with people like Pratt.
Roberts, Feuerbach, Dimitri. Suddenly, names from your decomptage flash in your forebrain. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it, and a shining watermark. It takes you the reeds bend. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. No locus. No phasmid either. But still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there.
The netting is a little untidy. Messier than the others. Like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not. We did sort of promise to tell them, didn't we?
Great news. The boat is big enough for a grown man like you to fit underneath it in a supine position.
Huh? Sarcastic self-pity is not what we need at this moment. I understand the situation looks grim.
You have a home somewhere. All cops do. When
Tequila Suns. Let me take a sip to moisten up my cords. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday. And by Tequila Sunset, I mean you. Hey, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is your story. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm. And by the worm, I mean the buzz. Because as far as I know, all you did was get pissed drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer, and that it would be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept, if you ask me.
it is. The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He's listening as casually as...
It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, were getting our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this. We get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy. One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs.
Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard?
Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Anyway, there was a brief silence. A gasp of silence, if you will. Followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic. What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you. Right there on the beach. You read, "The time hath come." So, naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked what time hath come. To which you replied, "The time hath come for Tequila Sunset, the end of all things." After which, your reality contracted. You jammed the pedal, plowed right off the jetty, and through the ice. We ran towards the ice, whilst you crawled your way out, miraculously unhurt. Covered. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there, though. The carriage had sunk too deep.
In this way, you and your motor carriage have a lot in common.
Recognizing a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to. We asked about the whole Tequila Sunset thing, and you told us it was your name now and insisted that we all call you that from then on. No, that's just what your mother called you. Your real name, ours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then, at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad. After a short while, you crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up, and left without saying anything.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, I bet Tequila's a fucking legend around the precinct. You must be proud to work with him.
If you only knew.
You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard.
No one's fucked me. Oh, Abigail!
It seemed pretty painful, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I'd say, beside your gun and your badge, you said something about your hope or heart. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too? That's a big one. You told us that they were a bunch of fucking losers whose No specifics, though. It was more about you that night. You said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. And that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it.
A lot of cops go solo and hermit once they reach that level of alcoholism.
Yeah, you kept talking about how the coal mine owners were fucking... I didn't agree with you, by the way. The spectral hand of the market makes sure everyone gets exactly what they deserve. You said being a cop was real boring and that there was no reason to talk about. You also kept pausing to knock the heel of your hand against your temples, saying, boring, boring, It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. Whoop-de-doo. So now I'm a fucking storyteller. Right. Well,
Is what you almost say, but the words choke in your throat. Do you really want to miss out on all this good stuff? Perhaps it's significant. Exactly. So you know what to say.
it depends, really. Are you willing to...
You might get scammed here.
No, the reality of the... Booze. Did you already forget our party? The thing I So, have you got anything for good old idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story. Seems fair to me. Classy.
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Don't call Abigail.
Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual. A founder/junior partner at a high concept creative services agency. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. I developed the paradigm, worked within the paradigm, But the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me. It did, with my trusty Sansarique tracksuit, but now dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets.
His eyes are clouded. His eyes are your eyes.
So I removed the key ring and put the keys for the front gate and the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, you see. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet. Wet, okay? It was raining really hard. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letter. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my ass. Ouch, indeed. Reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my ass in a mud pit in the middle. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling with my pockets, I realized that I'd also forgotten my... I wish I were, Tequila. I wish I were. Instead of my apartment key, I rang my neighbor's buzzers. It was late, and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something, and people are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be... Just then, I experienced a moment of clarity. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day. And since Anyway... Long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't gotten into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she didn't want to date a homeless. So, now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? I don't remember you being such a dick before, Tequila. That doesn't mean you're wrong, though. Anyway, that was all the tale wanted. Good fucking question, Tequila. If I knew the answer, you think I used to own my reality situation. My business buddies and I had our own creative services. Now I can't hang on to anything. My agency. Man. The Boom Boom Room. Our concept was... I convinced my partners to reinvest some of our profits in an even more high concept. I was financing a group of poets in East Revachol who were developing a new universal poetic language. But then it all went to shit.
If it sounds like it makes no sense, that's because it doesn't.
I know. It was fucking awesome. Until I went on a jog, unleashing a cascade of I'm all ears, Tequila.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be moved. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't look like he knows what that means. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother...
You're bad with kids. Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now?
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and...
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
Well, you're barking under the wrong tree then, officer. I have no interest in floaters. Seen enough of them in my life already. Very unattractive bunch. Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot. Guns are expensive and fragile, I think. Besides, I got kids. Can't have guns around them, and sometimes a sharp blade is enough to keep folks at bay. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners. No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check? You would put me in an early grave. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid, and that goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that. Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Guess I enjoyed the way he bled.
If it is, then why the melancholy?
Gone. To the waves. The sea took him. Who knows? Maybe he fell over. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better, drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.
Sure is. The Sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue.
You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot sujunti.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts. I still have a golden ear. Come, come. Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're... No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. He was boarding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual.
That's you, all right. A black hound licking your own heels.
Maybe they are afraid because you're an ill omen. But you're still welcome here, as long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage, and not a lot of houses, or a lot of people. My kids look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Stay? That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there. Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the police.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap. A blank spot on the map. Just a
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be. After the war, it was turned into a goodwill hospital for shell-shock veterans and folks looking for some quiet in the old side. Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinder blocks. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east, but they are away right now. And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight. But there's little we can do about it. Home is home. Lillian is tough. Tougher than the men here, at least. If it wasn't for her and the kids, this place wouldn't have. I'm sure you did. Nature keeps them in rotation. A new face pops up every now and then, and an old one disappears and is forgotten. Here, for you, no officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women.
Under carts, boats, in little boxes. It's not. She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. who'd go to church here. They built it 300 years ago.
So, they don't hold services there anymore?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church. Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. No one. That's why it's closed. It was once a bustling place. Back with now, what catch we do bring in goes straight into a lorry for the Delta or somewhere else. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development, used to be a supply depot. We think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything, and now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. What a handle you got there. So many titles. One of them double. I can wash it for you, but it's going to take about a half an hour. Think you can stay put?
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over then, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you'll have an easier life in your hands.
The door has seen better days.
I'll wait outside to give you some time and privacy to check. After we are done with the day, I'll still be staying in the whirling in rags.
The key turns with a... An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it. The door... An old mirror hangs on the wall. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see it's like something snaps in you. A nerve ending, a thought, a sadness. Your face in the mirror is suddenly clean of the layer that had distorted it for God knows how long. Just like that, it's over. The running gag that your life had become. A sad old man looks back at you. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt. You'll be looking like a pansy without the chops. A fucking pansy. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough, like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman. You use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, producing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it, chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and you almost look like a professional. On the table, the tear machine stands and your bottles clunk into the machine. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste font.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better. Okay, here. I hope. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
A colourful display of...
Again, I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. Here you go, mister.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Hell no. I'm just an honest scab.
His neck muscles tense up. The veins on his neck bulge. It just has to be said, that was not a convincing line.
Fucking loincloth.
Loincloth? Now you see, that's not really what a scab would say, is it? Better
fucking mug.
I'm going to interpret that as a yes. There's a tribunal.
How about you fuck off now?
Okay, of course.
There could be weapons aiming at the man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's...
When a bunch of ungrateful beats me.
When the man moves around, you perceive some serious abs underneath his tight. Yes.
Hello, hello. Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, Pat.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? I'm afraid they're closed. It says here that the library is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
We should try again during business hours.
Anything else, Detective? Not yet. But I was able to convince the database people to share private sector information. They promised to get back to me by tomorrow morning. 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a...
Kuno's like Kuno's dad? Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything. Kuno doesn't fuck. The door seems to be locked.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? Mega rich lightbending guy? Oh my god. How did that get in there? Damn it to hell, Harry. I specifically told my guys to check all the containers for mega-rich lightbending guys. Honestly, Harry, we might be moving all kinds of suspicious things through this harbor, but I won't be caught transporting the lightbending mega-rich. I have a reputation to protect. You're a fucking idiot, Harry. I love it. Thank you for sharing this deep, idiotic part of yourself with me. I shudder to think what you're going to tell me next, Harry.
Not for 1 second did he believe there's an actual mega-rich person somewhere in...
No, you didn't. I know the mailman, Harry. I know everyone and everything that happens, just like I know you'll get it done. Once you stop horsing around, let me know when it's done. By all means, Harry. What's on...
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito. You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug ever.
All right, let's go back to Evrard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
Mr. Dubois, the Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. Of course. I already knew this. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a future and proven to be a true man of the left. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost...
Well done, sire. You don't know his full plan. Perhaps he expected trickery. Perhaps the signatures weren't important. The point is, do not think you're ahead of him.
I did not, Harry. Although I am very, very glad he's dead. Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Tits from her arsehole.
Actually, no, it's not.
Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. It's already happening. 2,372, plus your...
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization.
Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me. But an old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry,
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy. The one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. The neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debardeurs Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building.
Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does.
As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt.
We might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she be?
There it is again. The pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast, the one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
Sure, some will go, but mark my words. The company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue...
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the side. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries.
In bulk shipping, large volume column is a major buyer, a shark.
We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his Benefed, and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidone.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share.
He's basically admitting to it.
You know why you're such a good detective, Harry. You don't get Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start business. I'm gonna unite them all into one economic body. We're gonna incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's gonna be in on the wealth, and everyone's gonna pull their weight. Harry, the future I have in store for Martinez will have all the macho as...
Oh yeah, skull and bones. Skull and bones on a Revacholian flag. The Revachol?
We're way past specific union You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry. Great, Harry, great. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open.
The already familiar cold touch of plastic welcomes you as you pick up the hand. The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. Calling. Calling. Still calling. Then.
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. How may I help you?
The voice of a youngster on the other end sounds as enthusiastic as that of a man walking towards the gallows.
Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. No. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you rent videos here. Maybe you call to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? Let me fire up the machine. Dubois. Dubois. Here we are. You haven't rented anything in 5 years, but you still have a copy of Blue Ocean Hell from November '46. Whoa, not a fun film, that one. Ugh, it's not an easy watch. After the death of his daughter and subsequent divorce, Ziemsk immigrant Egidius Wojcik tries to come to terms with the onset of dementia. No wonder no one's been missing it. Still, it would be great if you could return it to us. We're on the corner of Voyager and Main.
The call is terminated by the other party.
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mexican origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
Measuring things is important. How did she get the size?
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother...
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and...
She had no fear, just surprise.
I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud. I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, for years it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met...
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report.
It did, yes. Like
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago.
Our first, yes.
The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else.
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but...
What if it is the case?
How could she? Who imagines this? She didn't know about the phasmid. This is the main thing here. What makes it a confirmed sighting?
So she couldn't have made it up, or imagined it.
That's true, yes. I'm almost certain neither my mother nor my grandmother knew of it. It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, Lena. You trying to tell us you saw the Insul Indian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here. They just give me a cider and ruffle my hair and tell me to stop dreaming. But I saw it.
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
But I don't believe it. A child left unattended on a warm day. Children make up stories and then end up believing them.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
Ha ha! Nothing like the gratitude of a good woman. Now then, what can I do for you?
He tries to play it cool, remain professorial, but in...
Good. Okay. And? Completely empty?
No locusts? No phasmid either?
That's not ideal.
It just means the Insul Indian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct.
Of course, more clever.
Yes. The Phantasmadeia picked off the locusts and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps. Make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds. Why don't you try convincing Morell his hypothesis is invalid?
Thank you for the vote of no confidence, Gary. An officer. I appreciate your concern, but please leave this to the experts. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture. Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now. And brought some great news, too.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What?
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Helping cryptozoologists isn't really a priority for our... Damn it, Lieutenant. Have you no intellectual curiosity?
Hello. Lena and I were just
You have your suspicions, but nothing you can form into a viable explanation.
A different cryptid?
Oh, sweetie. Maybe you should stick...
Hello. Lena and I were... Hello. Lena and I were just discussing the design...
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child want with bugs?
Oh, my dear Morel. You've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old...
Delinquents. My favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever...
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
He hasn't been particularly forthcoming before. He may well still be hiding something. After he's left, it's too late.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll... Morale, it's been fun. Really. But I need a bath, and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done...
No need to apologise, Geary. You'd be more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of Sue's rain.
Can I help you? What is this thing? What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things.
It's not actually about that.
No, you don't. It's not happening.
You need to approach this situation logically. Ask him why he has the PA system installed if you can't use it.
It's for no one. It's a prop. I'm not letting anyone use it after the great karaoke catastrophe of '44. A lot of people got killed because some arsehole wanted to sing karaoke. Okay, yes, it's for some clients. Ha! Well, we don't have any tapes. They all got stolen.
The man in the vest and the violet shirt stares at the tape you've...
Fine. Climb on that stage and do your thing. Just get out of my head.
I'm having it uninstalled. Oh yeah. Time to do the damage. The stage is all set up for your performance. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady, sub.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
The stage is... You feel a little dizzy.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on...
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. Hands? Where do you put your hands? The stage, you feel a little...
So, are you ready?
The bar is full and buzzing with chatter. No one is paying you any attention. But they are going to hate you. Just make sure you move, okay? Don't be stiff. The air is thick with anticipation. Someone dims the lights as the music starts. Okay, here we go.
I would often go there, to the tiny church there, the smallest church in Saint-Saëns, though it once was larger. How the realm may rest there, down through the mist there, toward the Seven Sisters, toward those pale cliffs there. I would often stay there, in that tiny yard there. I have been so glad here, looking forward to the past here. But now, you are all alone. None of this matters. No, none of this matters at all.
A lazy applause fills the room. You feel your hands shake as awareness of your body returns to you. The microphone amplifies your voice in an uncomfortable manner.
Good. Are we ready? I want to unplug the microphone now.
Last words?
Kuno's like Kuno's dad? Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything. No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, C.
Now they're gonna take you to lame prison! Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
Lame. That rings some bells. Could this be connected to Night City? AKA the City of Rage.
Oh god, Kuno, no! It's gonna happen now. They're gonna make you lame.
Stop it, C. No one's gonna make anyone lame. Kuno's got this under control.
There's definitely something going on here. You should check out Kuno's shack, the one with the pig's head.
Kuno
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows, like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a subcase of the imaginary insect. Oh, I'm not being sarcastic.
When someone says they're not being sarcastic, it's usually a good sign that they're being very sarcastic.
If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait, but what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic bug was nowhere near here. The phasmid is impairing your judgment.
I'll let you handle the... Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps, I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the...
Yeah, damage. He means...
Either way, good on you.
Kuno's... Yeah? Kuno took the books. So what?
So it wasn't the phasmid. A wave of disappointment washes over you.
It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking...
Stop!
Locusts coming down like a shadow. This must be the Night City he mentioned when you...
Yeah, Locust City. City of Rage. City of Lights.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort.
Maybe I am.
Did he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno, Kuno.
Kuno made Kuno. Kuno says whatever the fuck he wants. I fucking say I when I wanna, and Kuno when I wanna.
This is what he sometimes does when things get tense.
Oh, Kuno! It's so lame.
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno. You'll have to take me away.
In it, you hear snow melting, dripping from the eaves. Someone closing a window. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. Use this momentary confusion to take control of the situation. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. C was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the... She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno's finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not I.
Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. It don't mean anything. It's shit. Kuno just likes to focus. Kuno likes to concentrate on shit. Build shit. Pig. You really shouldn't have fucked with Kuno City. Now it's all fucking lame. The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit.
Put your hands where I can see them.
Show me your hands. This is the pace. Show me your hands. Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
The man appears to be pulling out an object from his pocket.
Fear under threat! Superseding event. Split-second decision. Get on the ground. Get on the goddamn ground! Subject yourself to a full body cavity search. Prohibited.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
You'll have to go for the gun sooner or later. Perhaps you can learn crucial facts before you do.
It's the goddamn police shitbag!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back.
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing!
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here.
Back up! Back up! Back up! Status unconfirmed!
No. No.
There's a scenario unfolding in her head right now. It has...
What's the situation, officer?
Law enforcement compromised! Impersonation!
Does she not believe you two are actually police officers?
License and registration! License and registration!
It's not a code, just disjointed words.
Officer in need of assistance! Suspect Ellen!
Ma'am, please. We want to help you, but you need to lower that weapon.
Disturbance reported.
Big red key. That's code for the battering ram. Cop talk.
We can't leave. The delirious civilian is pointing firearm at us. Your firearm.
She's frantic, confused, teetering under all that gear. Sure, you're you, but how do we end this?
Confined quarters, assailant coming at me!
Oh my God.
God, I almost blew her head off.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. Police guns always have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
Grab the gun, right now.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
This limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert, it doesn't want to feel or think anymore.
Don't worry. We need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
I don't think she actually... You're right, of course. This could have been very bad. She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this. Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8 and loneliness. Could be. Her hands were trembling and she did seem uncoordinated. But what are we gonna do with her? I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state, and with... We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family. Then we can ask him once we get back to the whirling. But we have to hurry, because it's late, and they might have already gone. But I think we are done here for now.
Please, leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? She stands motionless, just a heap of clothes and fleshes now. Maybe if you... Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your guess. No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this. That won't happen. The woman stands slumped is one of those things, there were narcotics in there too. She doesn't even flinch as you...
Oh, is that yours?
It's hard to say. It's been so long since you wore yours.
It's your hat.
The old woman doesn't react to you. You take the vial of Pyrrolidon, and she didn't consume them. She didn't look high. She...
You're taking those, are you?
Listen to him, for once.
Right. Okay.
The surrounding blaze of the electric lights makes the white-on-blue police livery of the motor carriage seem beautiful. Do something important? Something murder-related? This is a Caprice Canema. The Caprice Motor Corps, with its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12-cylinder compression ignition engine, driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox, the Canema is able to reach 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds and go on to a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour. The high center of balance is offset by a large battery bank mounted at the bottom of the cabin, feeding all the auxiliary systems and making the Canema effectively a mobile power plant. Due to a quite steep price tag, it is very unusual to see one in police livery.
You want to take a closer look? 130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12. Man, that's got to be a major advancement over the KR-18GU engine.
7.2. Supercharged. Yes. An extraordinary machine.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Helium headlights would improve the range and quality of the vision. It's a bit girly right now. Fit it with some proper off-road.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to fitting them yet. I need to lay some wiring for the ballast first. Maybe. Yes, definitely maybe.
And means no.
Hello, officer. So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Kuno kid or the Miss.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap.
Darling, I told you to take it easy.
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season.
That's just something people tell themselves when they fail.
We are getting really carried away with this, aren't we?
He wants to see this tale through as much as you. Otherwise, he'd have...
Really? It's too much.
What Morel means is...
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a
Wow. Co-discovery. You'd be famous.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation.
She puts her coffee cup down with a soft ring.
Did he? I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intentions.
She doesn't care. If anything, she sounds amused.
Where did they get this recording exactly?
It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via de-encryption station. It's authentic enough.
Does he say he's gonna do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style?
The phrase was used.
Yeah. That was practically his pickup line. Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Cohoy style? He wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little Cohoy. It wasn't his everything.
Yes, was he bragging?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure he did all those things. Then integrated them into his idea of normalcy. To keep on living. Until they just sort of turn into his...
She's quite observant about the human character. Trained to observe, even.
People who go to university know how to use words like internalize and integrate, officer. Now...
There's more to this. She has an index in her head of pathologies and how to exploit them. I can almost see her turn the pages.
Running joke. I was gonna say running joke. And it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lely's punchlines got way, way funkier than that. He was like the Seminese conflict, the Kohoi massacre, and the 36 famine in Yezud all rolled into one person, then cast in Orani ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower. We're all scraping up any happiness we can find, officer. Going around with our little scouring sticks.
Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things? He and Martinez, I mean?
No. We were too busy laying waste to our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward.
What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for details.
Thank you for clearing that up, miss. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what...
She takes a very small sip of her coffee and smiles.